KBA squad, this is Last Shelter and we're checking out Season 8 Hero Drop 2. It features these four, so it's the second of the 4 hero drops that feature in the first 2 weeks of your Eden map. Whereas last week we documented it was Cyclone, this week it is Flare among a pretty strong group of heroes that features last meta's Scorpion in terms of troop recovery block, and then the previous seasons of Retrograder and Huntress that kind of are like a mainstay in week 2. It was Predator last season, so it's not changed too much, which for some of you, if you decided to pull in this particular week in previous seasons, it might increase the risk for you with having maxed or extra duplicates. But if you are looking to strengthen last season's or even the current metas that included Scorpion with Siren and Dawn, but also take advantage of Flare if you already have those duo, then you can make a very strong combo that's going to up your competitiveness this season. So before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, Leo's VIP Club, giving you access to some of the APC and base skins that you can purchase directly, strip away some of those randomized packs that can get pretty expensive. So if you are interested, I'll put the link down below where you can purchase APC and base skins directly from Leo's VIP Club. So a quick refresher, last week headlined Cyclone alongside Dawn, Lust and Profit, a pretty good overall drop of 4 heroes, with Dawn being kind of the best pick considering how strong she is in mixed formations, and Cyclone still being a little bit more efficient, bringing Nomad into the fore and also helping increase your force tiling efficiency. If you find yourself pulling in those, then you're probably going to be in a different drop pattern than if you are deciding to aim for Flare instead of Cyclone, unless you have crazy amount of tickets that you can kind of drop in both of these and even just the weeks after. This week is pretty strong, although it is a caveat that you need certain requirements of heroes in order to make Flare and Scorpion work, while the other two, Retrograder and Huntress, are solid nonetheless, with Retrograder's focused healing and Huntress still being a solid normal damage. They will be ran in different APCs, so you won't necessarily see the main combos with Flare and Scorpion using the other two. They kind of form the other 2 and 3rd APCs. But Scorpion, he is very effective and highly effective with Siren and Dawn, but if you find you get copies of Flare, then he will kind of supersede Scorpion in Siren and Dawn. You can still use Scorpion where you might use Wrath, as considering he's a much higher, a more efficient troop recovery block and damage reduction, but he does need to play in more combat skill focus combos, so it's really just down to your selection of heroes and how these guys will slot in. Now, I talked about Flare previously. His skill did change a little bit, so Flare Blade is kind of his guaranteed damage whenever he is hit, so you primarily want him in the front row, whether that's combat skills or normal attacks. He will respond and he does deal a healthy damage. It is random, so we hit any of the enemy hero formation, but this is kind of his guaranteed piece. His burning armor, we noticed influence kind of featuring this season, as well as a Cyclone. This is influenced by resistance, so basically just means depending on your overall resistance compared to your enemy, if Flare has more, then this will be more effective. If he doesn't, then this skill sort of weakens a bit, and I imagine it will reduce some of the damage debuffs of the hero squad, so instead of -25 might be a little bit less, and also the gain in might also be a little bit less. It will still stack up to 10 layers. The only problem is this doesn't give any indication of how it actually affects reports, so this is kind of an unknown variable that we don't know how it multiplies or really makes a difference or not. But what I like about Flare is the way he stacks all the damage that he receives. It makes him stronger going forward, and his guaranteed damage of Flare Blade. Finally, Fire of Annihilation is what makes Flare work really well with Siren, as he's able to put enemies in burning state with a guaranteed activation per round. 1 or 2 enemy squads It has a damage rate when he inflicts it, but it deals 350%, which is pretty good on the action phase. But when you combine that with Siren's plus 60% combat skill damage, then this is really deadly. And of course, Dawn's coverage. You pretty much need all three. You can kind of get away having 2 copies of Flare if you're limited, and I would advise you'd probably want to unlock his skill 8 first. He is a damage dealer. You'd want him in the front row, and even though being awakened sort of reduce how much troops he has, if you are running him in the Dawn and Siren formation, then Dawn in the middle is going to half the damage that he actually receives. Also increases the healing potential, that 40%, and then also Dawn's healing ability. Amp that up with Siren's damage, then you can still be pretty killer. So you can get away with 2, and I recommend skill 8 to unlock first before awakening. So that's new thing about Flare. He is good, although he is limited, so you do need to have at least Siren or Dawn. Probably Siren more important to get the most out of Flare, and you can substitute Dawn with Canoness. Retrograder, even in this pool, if you don't have her, they're going to be the most effective healers that you can combine them in the moment. And then of course we move on to Scorpion. So again, he's kind of your most effective troop recovery block. He does require all hero squads to trigger their combat skills, so you want to be running those that are combat skill heavy. That could be a Death Rider. Siren, of course, was one of the best picks. You can even run Prophet. He's more mixed combo friendly. Even though Scorpion is a shooter, there's not that many you could run him with as a damage dealer besides Hummingbird and Lust. They would kind of be your best bet in terms of their trigger activation and just their overall range of skills. Scorpion and Lust can work well. I don't really see them running that often together, which is a little bit surprising, but at the same time, just with how effective he is with Dawn and Siren or Death Rider, at the same time it's a no-brainer, just considering how much more damage a Siren can deal in that combo. But if you don't have Siren, and maybe if you don't have Dawn, an off-meta combo with Lust is also very good. Like with Flare, you kind of need his skill 8 to make his troop recovery block and damage reduction work. So I would actually say you need at least 3 copies of Scorpion to make him very worthwhile, because while his skill 8 will help with the troop recovery block and damage reduction, he can take some hits, so you do need him awakened. So that's 2 copies with Flare, 3 copies with Scorpion. If you do have Dawn, Siren, Death Rider, you're gonna get still some of the best meta combinations. Moving on, Retrograder. So I've documented him previously, but you'll find him running in very strong meta formations or even counters to the seasons, usually with Death Rider and Heaven's Redemption. So if you have any of those two, going to be killer. Reason why it works well, he's a very high focused healer for only 1 squad, can recover a crazy amount, usually around 26,000 when that triggers well. Add that with Heaven's Redemption sort of evasion ability and also his healing coverage, and then Death Rider's immunity sitting in the mid row, then that can definitely get through a lot of the garrisons. The 3 meta formations I mentioned are all S ranks, so if you want to learn more about the current like high ranking meta combos, you can find it on my website at onetechtraveler.com. Otherwise, Retrograder, you kind of substitute him into vehicle formations. It's just easier to run because he's versatile to run any troop type, but you can also put him in a makeshift shooter combo. I find his evasion in the first 3 turns to be very useful as a replacement if you want to run him alongside, say, with Nomad and Anna. And then finally we have Huntress, who I have maxed and also hero reconstructed to a decent amount. Huntress, I would probably say she's lower down the pecking order if you compare those 3 meta combos. Huntress kind of really needs a lot of that damage support to really get the most out of her, so you'll generally still see her run with Anna and Predator. You can kind of place her with anyone else. I actually try Koshe as well. He's got high execution for increasing the normal attacks. Kind of those for passive skills, then you get a bit more out of Huntress, but you kind of dull her offensiveness. If you say put a healer in, whether that's Kamikaze, Crusher, Cyclone doesn't work as effectively with Huntress as well, which is a little bit disappointing, primarily because she's kind of my only other maxed vehicle damage dealer, whereas Cyclone works really well with Nomad, Death Rider, also with Captain Ivanov much more effectively. I still like Huntress. Again, you'll find meta combos, it's really about having all the different kinds of APCs, and Ana and Predator slots in nicely in that combo, so there's definitely space in your 4 APCs to hit with, and highly effective, especially if you do increase your fortresses in Eden for might, then this can be really killer. Max Reconstruction, I do suggest, can be greed with a high damage that kind of offsets some of the non-healing in that sort of Ana Predator combo, and it does work very well, just waiting for a gold version. Otherwise, you really want to amp up her might, as that's going to give you a big leg up and just make that overall combo much stronger. Out of the 4, which one's sort of the weakest link? They're generally pretty good, although they all share the theme. They need the other heroes to make them work very well. Flare mostly with a Siren, a Scorpion mainly with probably Dawn, and then any combat skill damage dealer. Retrograder, probably Heaven's Redemption, Death Rider, and then Huntress and a Predator. So they're all fairly even. They're kind of also similar in terms of where you'd want to run them with. So again, they're kind of limited if you're looking at meta combos, so they're fairly even. Flare kind of edges it though with just how he one-ups sort of the last season's meta combination, and rightfully he is the all-new hero. That being said, if you did pull in previous seasons like I did, I already have a max Retrograder for the last 2 seasons and Huntress. I did pull in this maybe last season or the season prior for the new heroes, and it didn't work out. I got a few duplicates, so I am skipping this one. Overall, is it a pull that's worth it? Yes. Scorpion and Flare are going to be great pickups to help you build up that mixed combination, and also build up just generally the top metas. Retrograder, if you have a usable Heaven's Redemption and Death Rider, and that's also going to be very killer and give you another option to counter those other metas. Really great. Whereas Huntress, not as effective, and I'll probably say is probably the weakest pickup out of the 4, just with how competitive her strongest combo is compared to the other 3 where they can slide in. Now, in terms of heroes next week, week 3, you're going to see Dawn and Scorpion featured. It is the first of the larger pool, and I believe it's 7 or 8 heroes. Is also where the new wish list is going to come in, where you can slightly increase the probability of getting the hero you want, so you can target which hero you want, which for me would be Death Rider. But week 3, alongside Dawn and Scorpion, is Kami, Koshei, Heaven's Redemption, Betrayed, Patriot, and Wanderer. Overall, that one is kind of a so-so one. It's kind of a mixed bag. Dawn, Scorpion, Kami, and Heavens definitely favoring more stronger support heroes, with Betrayed, Patriot, Wanderer kind of being the not so good pickups. I actually still rate Koshei. But yeah, week 3 is going to really help build those meta combos. So if you have tickets and you kind of still need Dawn and Scorpion, that one's going to be worth picking up instead, because yeah, Flare's kind of a nice to have, but Dawn and Scorpion still going to help you build out that meta APC combo, and obviously Kami as well. Week 4 is Retrograder, Prophet, Rose, Canoness, Death Rider, Hunk, and Sven. So that one is probably looking not as good. It's a very tough hero environment to pick up Death Rider. You can obviously wish list him and it's not so bad. in terms of, you know, not having a Wanderer or Patriot. You have Punk and Sven. Sven still being very useful. And Canoness, even though she's kind of overshadowed by Retrograder and Dawn these days, Canoness is still going to be very solid and one that you want to max. So it's kind of a tough backdrop for me. If it was just Death Rider, then that pool of 8 does not look great. That rhymes. But week 5 might be a bit more appealing for those who need a damage dealer, but Death Rider not being in a suitable pool. Week 5 does feature Cyclone, Huntress, Siren, and Nomad, along with a few others that I have yet to confirm. But that one is kind of a great damage dealer because they all work together. And if you have a few copies of the others, then you know, if you need a damage dealer, you're going to find it there. So week 5 is probably what I'm going to target, especially if I still need to build up my super tickets. But that sort of sums up Hero Drop 2 in Season 8 KBA squad. If you decide to pull your tickets in this pool, let me know down in the comments your return, whether you pulled the heroes you wanted, the RNG. Be good to hear. Otherwise, I will see you in Hero Drop 3 next week. Make sure you keep it locked here at Phoenix Plays, subscribe to my channel, share it with your Alliance buddies, and stay tuned for my upcoming official KBA Discord server to bring the community together, share those KBA vibes, and also bring those who are playing the different kind of games that we are talking about alongside my travel stories, gear and tech reviews, movies, and all that jazz. So keep it locked here. If you'd like to support my channel to help me bring more awesome videos to you guys, feel free to check out my Patreon and how you can become a KBA member or donate to my PayPal virtual char. Always appreciate it. I kind of manage everything myself, including my website and sharing some awesome gems along the way and being closer with you guys. So appreciate it. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. But until then, keep being awesome. Peace.